Today's topic is about strategic planning. A long time ago, I was in an interview and I was asked what I thought, and probably still is, an unusual question. And the question was, how do you know you're doing good? And that's a very interesting question. And I wonder if you take a moment to reflect upon that. How do you know you're doing good? What data, what evidence do you collect that says, I'm doing a good job, my organization is doing a good job, there's satisfaction, I'm satisfying someone's objectives? What are your pieces of evidence? In the IT world, at one time it was fairly easy because objectives were, well, objective. You could measure them fairly well in terms of response times, uptime, service delivery, CPU performance. Very easy to measure, very easy to deliver. Not a lot of arguing about did this or did this not happen. And people, you could have them rally around, yep, I agree, job well done. And as time has gone on, people have come to expect more from IT, certainly more from a CIO, and the measures have become a little less easy to accumulate, to even define. For a CIO, the question being, how are you making inroads? How are you contributing to the bottom line? If you're in a commercial organization, the bottom line being financial, in government, nonprofit, higher education, a little different depending on the organization. How are you as a CIO making that organization better, having that organization achieve its goals beyond the typical IT hard measures of uptime, etc. So one thing that I reflect upon in my tenure here in my organization is something that's done very well for me. Beyond, there's a few things that I can think of. Project management has yielded immense results, immense satisfaction. But strategic planning in particular, and the importance of it, is something that I reflect upon, and I'm really happy that I pursued this early on. I've gone through 2 major strategic planning cycles in my organization in the last few years, last 10 years, once every 5 years. And what it's done for us is helped us define a lot of things, and it does relate to how do you know you're doing well. The strategic planning process helped in a few ways. First, among my staff, it helped them define who they are and how they contribute to the bottom line. It helped in my peers and in my constituents, and we struggle with naming who we work for in various ways. Constituents, clients, customers, people use different terms, but in our case, I typically use constituents. It helped them understand who we are in terms of delivery and help them speak about what their needs are. And there is a sort of a dual benefit about that. And the bottom line of that benefit is, I would call, engagement, maybe ownership. The old style of you deliver a service and I receive it, and when I receive it the way I like it, I determine that I'm happy or not, and then I'll let you know, is one way to do things. And that might be okay for an external vendor relationship, client-vendor relationship. It's not okay for an internal one. An internal one, I think, and I would expect that there's a predefined way of being in terms of satisfaction that has you avoid those after-the-fact pitfalls and errors and judgments. And that is, why do I have to deliver a service to you and then wait to determine that that was okay or not okay, whereas I could, before that service got delivered, know what works best for you. And that certainly is a benefit of strategic planning. And so we had our organization rally around a certain set of values and principles, and then deliver that as a document, as a series of presentations, as a series of forums and focus groups that had our constituents engage with defining who we are as an IT organization. And that I'll say, and I'll urge greatly for those of you who have not been through it, I'm certain that the majority have, that how much benefit that yields. Again, in my organization, I'll toot my horn here, that it's not a universal practice among other like organizations. I know this because many have reached out to me and said, can we copy your format? Can we learn from what you've done? And of course, that's an enthusiastic yes. And so that tells me that, you know, many people, and I was in that boat 10 years ago, are wondering how to go forward with this kind of thing. How do I do this? When it's a blank slate and you've never done it before, it can be intimidating. I will say that after the fact, now that we've done it through two times, we're by no means experts. We learn every time, but it's well worth it. Well worth the learning, the pain that may go along with it. Certainly there's an investment that goes on, but after the fact, it does yield fruit. So that's my talk on strategic planning and defining how you know you're doing well. And I must revisit. I'd forgotten to link to how you know you're doing well. So the other benefit about strategic planning is that it defines who you are. So you get to be someone who says, well, I'm doing well based on the definition that we all agreed on who we would be, what direction we're going to, what benefits we provide for the organization, as opposed to I do well based on whatever. If you don't predefine that, then what evidence are you going to use to say you're doing the job right or wrong? You can certainly come up with great evidence and maybe even a great argument, but how do you know that there's an agreement about that? You're kind of on your own. And the benefit of strategic planning is that you're not on your own in terms of those definitions, even your values. Those are shared values within the organization that you've predefined. It makes defining your success much easier. And so that's my link. I almost neglected to bring that into play. So thank you for watching and listening. There's more on this on my blog at michaeldewisha.com. Thanks.